Sometimes when I'm out birding or working in the field, I find that I get really focused on the birds. But what typically happens when I'm doing that is that I forget about my state of mind. And this is important because we now know that our state of mind impacts the wild world around us. So today, during the mindful bird sit, we're going to connect our mindfulness practice with our birding practice and explore what it means to hold both at the same time. Hey there, welcome to the Mindful Bird Sit. If you're new here, my name is Kristi, and I help people connect more deeply with birds and nature while boosting their confidence, elevating their skills, and helping them to fall more in love with life. If that's something you'd like to do, please consider subscribing and sticking around. And also, you can try out any number of my online courses, like Identify Any Bird Anywhere, if you want to take your skills to that next level. All right, let's get started. I think it could be fun today to practice holding both at the same time, like being aware of our state of mind while also just falling in love with and playing and enjoying the birds around us. So that's what we're going to do. So it'll be an eyes and ears session. I know sometimes we're all eyes and sometimes we're all ears, and today it'll be just a full body experience. So
Ooh.
however you are, you can, yeah, exactly, Cheryl. So however you are, you can bring your full self. And if you're inside, again, always, it's a good thing to crack a window or at least sit near a window so you can see what's going on outside. And what I'll do, I was trying to find like a little chime or something. Oh, wait a minute. Where is that? There is. Hang on one second. I don't know if it'll work, if you guys will be able to hear it or not, but let's see. It's sort of, this is like, this house has this like, it, I don't know. I might, can you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, I might jingle that or I might do my chickadee whistle, which is like, all right. So, but sometimes people get confused because they're just like, oh, there's just a chickadee singing and they ignore me. So I'll do one or the other or both. So what I'm going to do is that I think I'll give us like 2 minutes. So we'll first, as always, we'll start with a grounding practice. And then as we get into the practice, what I'll do is I'll just give us 2 minutes to just absorb, just take in the world around you, enjoy, like fall in love with whatever it is you're looking at, listening to. And then I'll remind us every 2 minutes to be mindful of our state of mind, of coming back to that grounded place, of coming back to owl eyes and deer ears and the stillness within us. And maybe you are, and that's sort of the goal, is to always stay in that state of mind while you're connected with the world around you. But just in case you might get distracted, as we do, the chime or my chickadee call will be the thing to bring us back. So when you hear that, when you hear the chime or the chickadee call, that's your cue to tap back in with your state of mind and just be like, oh, am I in owl eyes right now? Am I connected with my mind, with my heart? Am I breathing? What's my breath doing right now? So does that make sense? Anyone have questions before we dive in? Good? Okay. Okay, great. All right, so get myself situated here. Make sure you guys are all on mute. Yep, we're good to go. All right, so everyone, go ahead and we'll start by just becoming present to where you're sitting right now. I think all of you are sitting, nobody's standing. So just notice your body in your seat right now. Whatever you're sitting on, become present to that. It's likely made of some material that at one point in time was some part of nature. So maybe it's cotton underneath you, or it could even be some kind of polyester or something that's made of plastic. But even the plastics originally came from the ocean at one point, of little sea creatures. So just remembering to connect in right now with what we're sitting on and what's around us in this moment. Good work. And just appreciating that. Take a moment just to appreciate what it is that we're sitting on. even our own butts. Feel a little gratitude for your butt this morning and all that it does for us. Always bring a little joy and playfulness in here, you know? It's kind of fun. So feel some gratitude for your behind right now. And yeah, that it makes a soft cushion for you to sit upon. What a lovely thing. All right, great. And you can now choose to either have your eyes closed or keep them open. If they're going to be open, just stay in owl eyes. And if you don't know what that is, don't worry because we will all do that together in just a moment. So choose eyes open or eyes closed. And now what I want you to do is take a moment to become present to your breath. So noticing just what rhythm your breath has in this moment. And you don't have to do anything to change it or shift it. You can just become aware of its own rhythm. Is it fast? Is it slow? Is it a little erratic? And just let it be what it is for a moment. Great work. So now on your next exhale, I'd like you just to intentionally force all of the air out, doing a little extra pushing at the end. So really force the air out of your breath, out of your body, pushing, pushing, pushing. And then now allow your breath just naturally flow back into your body. A nice deep inhale and just exploring all of the places that your breath touches. Where is your breath connected with inside your body right now? And on each inhale and exhale, allow yourself to do the same thing, pushing all of the air, all of everything that's complete and done in you, letting it go with your breath, and then allowing the new, the fresh to come in and to be received into your body, noticing where it's connecting and how deep, how far you can explore with your breath inside your body today. Great work. So now as we continue to explore our experience in our own bodies, we can start down at our feet. So noticing the connection that your feet have with whatever it is underneath your feet. Maybe it's socks, then your shoes, then the floor. And just imagining, if you will, maybe it's a couple stories that you have to go, or maybe it's just right beneath your feet. Noticing that connection that your body right now has, the soles of your feet have with the earth beneath you. And you can take just a moment to play with this and to explore. So allow this connection that you have to go deep into the earth like a root. And you might be, just explore what kind of root you are in this moment. Maybe you're a tap root that goes really deep and solid down into the earth. Or maybe you have the kind of roots that spread out, kind of like a fir tree. They go out really, really far out into the landscape. So allow yourself to play with that for now and just see what it's like to feel yourself, to feel this connection with the earth deep beneath your feet right now. What's down there as you're experiencing this? Do you experience the darkness? Maybe there's a stillness. Or maybe you're present to all the life that's down there right now, waking up and already having been awake for a long time now that we're in the midst of summer. Just notice if you can feel or hear anything moving around you, or again, if you're maybe present more to the stillness. that exists down deep in the earth. And so now allow yourself to bring that experience of stillness back up. So we're going to come back from our roots, back from that deep place in the earth or that expansive place on the landscape, bringing your awareness back to the soles of your feet and then coming into your toes. You can even wiggle your toes a little bit as you feel that connection coming back to you now. And now experiencing your ankles all the way to your shins, and that lovely place where your knees and your shins and your thighs connect. There's a lot going on there. Just explore that for a moment. Explore all that is around your kneecaps. Giving some love, some appreciation to that part of your body. And then up to your thigh, big strong muscle of your thigh. And then into your hips, the place that in some traditions they believe hold our emotions. So giving some love and connection, attentiveness to your hips right now. If there's an emotion, you can just let it be. You can allow it to be present. Maybe it's joy, maybe it's sadness, maybe it's whatever it is. Elation. You can allow that emotion to have a space in this moment. And then becoming present to your belly button and that area below your belly button. And some people believe this is one of the powerhouses of our body. So spend a little moment, just allow yourself to reside in this place of power in our body, this grounded center of our body for a moment. Wonderful. And you can choose to rise up the rest of the way through your spine if you'd like, or you can stay in the front of your body and pass through your organs, like your heart, your lungs, your liver, or traveling up your spinal column, one vertebrae at a time, exploring what it feels like to connect with each of the vertebrae in your body right now. And then once you get to the tip of your spinal column, we'll just take a moment and go back and remember your shoulders. And then send some good love all the way down your arms to your elbows, your wrist, your fingers. You can even give your fingers a little wiggle, remembering each one of them today and all the things that our fingers and our hands allow us to do. And then we'll move back up our arms to our neck and our throat, place where our voice is held, where our song lives and resides. Although that also could be in our chest and in our heart. So wherever that is, give that space some love and attention right now. And then we'll finally move to our head. So connecting with your ears, your eyes, your nose, all the wonder and the magic that is allowed to be in our experience because of each of these places in our body right now. And then finally with the crown of our heads, connected to the sky, up into the heavens, if you will. And just noticing, like we did with the soles of our feet, what would it be like if you could feel that connection with yourself and the sky right now? How far could you travel up into the stars, into the universe? It's quite a majestic perspective from that vantage point. And now bringing yourself back to your own body. You always were in your own body, but becoming present in this moment, right here, in this space, beginning to feel the air on your body. Maybe it's wind, maybe you really feel a strong breeze. Maybe it's just a slight little kiss on your cheek that you feel. There could be moisture in the wind right now, in the air that's around you, or maybe it's very dry. So, whatever that is, just bring yourself into the awareness of the world around you right now. Take a nice deep breath in, smelling the air, noticing how it's unique or different this morning compared to other mornings that we've done this practice. And then when you're ready, nice and slowly, you can gently open your eyes and allow them to fall on something that's within 10 or 20 feet. Some of you may have the inspiration to look really far away, off in the distance. And regardless of how far you're looking, find one point to focus your attention on. And this is the beginning of that practice called owl eyes. So you focus on one point off in the distance, and then slowly, as if you could imagine, you just dropped a rock into that puddle or the lake of that point. And you're going to watch the ripples expand further and further and further out from that center point. So your vision is going to expand further and further and further out while you continue to look at that center point in front of you. And see how far out you can actually see in both directions. How far does your vision stretch on each side? Can you see a little bit behind you even? Can you see above and below? And let yourself stay in this softened vision, this owl eyes, for the next moment or two. Begin to notice the subtle movements and maybe some of the not so subtle movements that are out there in the environment in front of you right now. Beautiful. And while you're still in this state of being aware of your eyes and your vision, we're also going to start to tap into the sounds that we're hearing. So you can start with the sounds that are nearest to you, and then slowly, again, like a ripple, you'll be expanding your sense of awareness of sound further and further and further out. But take your time to explore the sounds that are first nearest to you, and then a little bit further, acknowledging a different sound at each juncture. All right, beautiful. So now we'll begin the practice part of our practice. So you can choose to stay in owl eyes if you want to, or in this deer ears, whatever you prefer. You can also get focused. Like if you see something that's really strikes your curiosity, then you can focus your eyes on that and watch it for a while. But I will time us and I'll allow us to have about 2 minutes. And then at the 2-minute mark, I'll either make my chickadee call or I'll ring the chimes. And when you hear that, that's your cue to bring yourself back to mindfulness and noticing your state of mind. And if you can bring yourself back to that peace that you may have felt when you were either deep within the earth or maybe you were exploring the stars. All right, so we'll start our time now. Beautiful. So take the next moment or two to offer a blessing or gratitude to any of the ones that you connected with during our practice this morning. Lovely. All right. So folks are welcome to stay for our chat, and no, you don't have to chat. You can just observe and be present. And if you need to go, thank you so much for coming. It was a real pleasure to have everyone here with us practicing. And who would like to start us off, to kick our chat off? Who has something that they'd like to share from your experience this morning? Yeah, Cheryl, please.
What I noticed was I had a lot of well, I have towhees, spotted towhees in my yard, and they're usually very shy, and they don't come out if I'm here. But today, they were chasing a male and clearly a male and a female were chasing each other around and hopping up on the fence and zooming down onto the lawn on the other side of the fence and popping back up, uh, and it's quite radiant. I was somewhat surprised that they're still doing all of that chasing around. But earlier today, I was sitting in my front room. I have a window, and I have a fern that's right outside my window, kind of a clumpy one. And I've been watching the last week that two dark-eyed juncos are building a nest in there. Now, usually I expect them to be nesting in May, not in June. Maybe it's because it's been so cold. I don't know. But it's just there seems to be a lot of nesting and mating going on right now, and it's really quite incredible because there are numerous of all the birds that are in my yard. There are a lot of them paired up, so it must be this is the current season for the mating in my yard. But I saw baby dark-eyed juncos earlier, so maybe this is the second go around. I just don't know.
Ooh, it sounds like a good mystery for you to figure out. I
Yes, it
like it.
does. And I'm going to be doing research into it. So,
Okay,
because the
good.
period may be longer than I anticipate, but I, I love the sound of it all. I love the sound of it all. So,
Yeah, and actually, a question for you, with the towies and the chasing towies, was it the male chasing the female or the other way around?
well, it's really hard to tell because I can't tell them apart, really. They both are about the same size. They both have all the same spots. I don't know a difference between them. So I'm going to have to look into that a little bit more to see if there is actually any discernible difference.
Yeah, and check the markings for the juvenile as well. Check like an immature like pattern and see what
Yes.
they look like as well.
I yesterday I was looking through Sibley's big book that covers all of the US, and because I had been with Della observing a appeared to be a juvenile western bluebird, and I had never seen a juvenile before. Well, quite up that close, and I saw that it had, lines. It had stripes on its breast, and I went, "Oh God!" And I went to my western Sibley, and it doesn't show a single juvenile in there. But then I went to the the big Sibley, and there it was, stripes and everything. So I went, "Oh." Now I have to I have to go there first from now on instead of just the Western one because it isn't as thorough. So,
Yeah, it's really true. Like having multiple resources is a really good thing, and I find I do the same thing. Like I often can get most of my information from my little Sidley guide, but inevitably there's something that he doesn't have in there, and so I'm either going, yeah, to his bigger book or to Crossley guide or an
uh-huh.
online resource or something else to like supplement. But yeah, I feel you on that one. Yeah. Nice, Cheryl. Nice work.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Who else would like to share from their experience this morning? Anne Marie, go for it.
Well, when I started, I had a lovely morning dove cooing, so that helped relax. But then, of course, when they do their flight, the startle flight sort of takes away the relax, it's like it moved. And I went to the bird baths, which Anne Marie has not filled yet for today, so I'm behind schedule. And then I was stressing, oh shoot, now I haven't done that. And then the catbird was yowling, and I was like, I could feel the tension kind of building, and it was about that time that the chimes hit. Okay, chill out. There's water in other places in my yard. They're not dying. I'll get there. And then I could relax and watched a cardinal, male cardinal, was over in the bushes, and I could tell. Then a little darker one, which I believe juveniles, met them, and so it was like bringing food to little guys. So that was interesting to watch. And have one turkey vulture that I've talked about a long time ago that has some feathers missing on the not the primaries but the secondaries, and for some reason they have never regrown in that area. They must be diseased. And they were doing a little labored flight, but they got to their mate and then had a really good thermal, so I could watch them just kind of calmly going around. So I was like, okay, you have to put a little more effort into some things, but you get there. So I could connect to that. Sometimes I have to put a little more effort into some things, but then I can chill. So they were speaking to me today. So
Aw, I love that. And thank you also for bringing us back around to connect with them and to hear an update on. Have you named that one? That turkey vulture?
not exactly, just that pair is definitely uses this general area. I've seen them towards the end of my road before it connects to the highway a little bit, but they do tend to have this area that would really love to figure out where they are nesting.
Yeah.
But they've been, I mean, it's been like 3 or 4 years that
Mm,
I noticed this particular pair because of the one.
mm.
So she's whoever she or he still plucking away.
Nice. That's great. Yeah. So thanks for and also for just the honesty around, where your mind went with like the feeling, whether it's judgment of yourself, like bad and wrong, it's just like, I didn't do this in time and I'm bad and like the other birds are gonna die and whatever, wherever our minds go. I do the same thing with my water bath. It's like, oh no, it's so empty and like, and it's just like, Kristi, like, before you got here, they were fine, It's just like, it's a lovely thing that we offer, whatever, but still, it's nice. Yeah, I think to have a trigger of some sort to remind us to check in with our state of mind can be helpful. I know when I'm out in the field, the other thing that got me thinking about this practice, I don't know if the cicadas are too loud for you guys to hear me right now, but
Mine just started.
okay, yeah, is that so with the transects that I do, we go 200 meters is a point, and so like every 200 meters for up to, I think it's like a mile, we have a new point, and at that point we take, that's when we do our notes and stuff. And so for me, that's kind of my reset time. It depends on what kind of stuff, like what kind of habitat I'm walking through. It can take like 7 minutes all the way up to like an hour and a half the other day to get from one point to the other. um, and Anyway, but that's usually a reset point for me. If I haven't done it already on my walk from one point to the other, if I haven't like checked in with myself to check about my mental state, I'll do that when I get to my point and I'm like taking my notebook out and like, oh yeah, who am I right now? Like what's going on in my mind, in my heart? Was there anxiousness about like, or frustration from like walking through whatever, or, irritation from the bugs, or I don't know, like what's happening with me right now, and how can I bring myself into the rhythm of the birds and the wildlife around me, and yeah, to be more aligned with their rhythm rather than my own, like blah 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 blah, all that stuff that goes on up there. Yeah, awesome. Who else would like to share? Thank you so much, Anne Marie. Stories from the morning. Yeah, Anne, please.
Like Anne Marie, my cat birds are here. So, and it's like then your mind does wander and you're going, well, if catbirds lay their eggs in other people's nests, how do they learn their song? And you're like, going to want to reach for your phone and look this up. And how do they? And it's like, no, just listen to the two catbirds talking. What are the catbirds saying to each other? It's like you have to bring yourself back. And then I'm sitting out here in my garden. I'm like, boy, I should really just get up and pull those weeds. It's like, no, not right now. Bring yourself back. It's like you've got everything here. You're allowed to pull weeds when we're done here today.
Nice work. I want to give a
Yeah.
big high five to you
Yeah.
because it really, I think often also, for whatever reason, we as modern humans have a really hard time allowing ourselves to be still, whether it's a terror of the emotion that might arise, or it's, you know, guilt around things, or who knows what. But all of us have, like, it's often a challenge for us as modern humans to just be still and just let that be okay. And, but yeah, well done catching yourself on that, on that, whatever it was that was trying to pull you away from the beauty and the magic of that moment, you know. There's a story that John Young tells, where he was my teacher for a long time, of sort of his first, I guess it was like a shock in the separation of nature. And so he grew up when he was a young guy with Tom Brown as his mentor, and spending all sorts of time connecting deeply, deeply with nature, doing wild, crazy things, but having some pretty magical, mystical moments out there in the natural world. And he recalls this one day in school, he was sitting next to the window and he was daydreaming. And he was just allowing himself to, like, I think he was watching a flicker or something outside, and he was just like with that flicker. He was just like so with it. And the teacher, he didn't even realize it, but the teacher came up and like smacked a ruler either on his hand, I think it was on his hand, because back in the day that was sort of an acceptable thing to do. And it just shocked him. Like, it was a total shock to his system, because it was in that moment this making wrong of daydreaming. Like, how dare you daydream in my classroom? Like, you're supposed to be paying attention, you little kid, who's like had this beautiful, like, lovely experience with the wild. And he was like shocked out of that. He was just like, no, it's not allowed. And I wonder if that's also an experience that, not the same experience, but if us as children at some point may have had something like that, that told us that that wasn't okay, that being still, that wondering, that allowing the magic to happen wasn't okay anymore. We had to grow up and be adults. You got things to do. You got to pay attention in school or whatever it is. So yeah, it's just something to ponder and think about, because it's a really strong sort of, I don't know if I call it an urge, but it's a strong reaction that we have to sitting still, you know? Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Anne. That's really powerful. Yeah. Awesome. Anyone else want to share their experience this morning? I can share mine. So when I first was looking out, I saw something that just to me is so beautiful that I'd never seen before. It was the first thing I saw, and then the last thing my mind was focusing on when I was just like observing nature. And there is like some sort of, I think it's actually, what do you call that? We call them tamaracks in the east, and then larch in the west. So it looks like a tamarack of sorts. but the way its shadow is reflecting on the pavement out here, it actually looks like it's like this, like the way the tamarack branches are, that they spread out like kind of flat like this, but the shadow is making it look like it's like an upright tree that's just like huge and has like all these branching, well, yeah, branches branching out. um, and it was just really, it was kind of like the idea of the world tree. This is gorgeous, beautiful, big tree as a shadow. And I kind of had this funny thought. I was like, I wonder if trees ever, like, because this car drove over the shadow. And you know, as a kid, like, if you ever like try to chase your shadow or catch your shadow or step on someone else's shadow, you know, or you watch other kids doing that. I just kind of wondered. I was like, oh, I wonder if the tree ever was like, hey, don't step on my shadow. You know, again, I don't know if trees have thoughts or not, or if they even care. But it was just sort of a fun, like, I just let myself be playful in my mind in that moment, and yeah, it was just kind of fun to like to go there, like to be like a kid again, and kind of wondering if what the tree thinks, you know. And then it wasn't honestly for me until the very, very last segment that we had that I found myself while I was observing, remembering my state of mind. Like my mind got busy instantly as soon as like the chimes rang, and I was like, oh yeah, state of mind. And I was like, you know, I forgot really quickly. And it took me like 5 rounds to get to be like, oh yeah, I can be grounded right now, right in this moment. And you know, be fully, fully present in my body and in the experience around me. So yeah, sometimes for me it takes a while to like remember, you know, even though we had the triggers and I was the one ringing the trigger, you know. Yeah. Awesome. Who else would like to share? Anybody? Going once? Going twice? Gabrielle. Okay, go for it. I can give you the button too if that helps. Here we go. You should have it now. There you go.
Well, it was so interesting as a response to all the reports. I heard this new bird sound way off in the distance, and I was so intrigued. And then all these human sounds started coming in, these man-made sounds, and I got so irritated. And it was a really interesting moment to I just got over COVID, and so I'm in this really spacey, fatigued place. And it was really an interesting, almost internal fight to stay with the sound of the beautiful birds, which I don't even know who they were, but there were lots of them way in the distance. And then the human side of it, the man-made side, the lawnmowers, and the more irritated I got, the less I could hear the birds. It was really interesting.
Wow, that's really rich, Gabrielle. You know, again, it's like what we each might have something different, but what it is, what that thing is that pulls us away from our magical experience, you know, that really sweet, lovely connection you were having with the birds. And, you know, for you, it was the man-made sounds, the human-made sounds that were pulling you, you know, to away from that. And yeah, this week when I was in the field, there was when I was walking between points, for some reason, like now there's like lots of spiders out there, like lots of spider webs. And this is just my own like little thing. Like years ago when I worked in Washington State, I was a gardener, and I don't know, just this one day, like there were spider webs in this one area, and I was pruning, and I think I had like demolished a spider's web, and I felt really bad about it because it was so beautiful. I always think like, oh God, it takes them so long to do it. And I mean, I don't know, like, deer walk through there all the time. Like whatever, it's just part of nature and how they do things. They'll rebuild it. But I had made this promise at that time. I was like, all right, if there's, I think I know what it was. There was a berry, there were some berries, and I wanted to like eat some berries, but there was a spider web in the way. And I had made a promise to like the spiders at that time. And I was like, okay, if there's ever a spider web in an area that I'm working or that I want to get through, I won't, I'll be like, okay, that's your zone. Like, I don't need to go there. I don't need to grab berries from that spot. Like, I don't need to mess up your web just so I can have something, unless there's like an emergency or something's going on. But in the field here, like, there's so many spider webs, and they're the ones that are like eye level. So you like literally walk into the web, like if you're not looking, and even when you are looking, because the light is just so, you can't see it until it's like right there. And um, so at first I was like, because there's like more and more, they're like all up and they're at different places. And like, I'll see one and I'll try, be like, okay, I'll walk around. And I go like around the trees and I'm like trying to walk around. There's another one. And I'm like, come on, you guys, like, give me a break. Like, I can't, like, I like, it was kind of like blocking me in at this one point. I couldn't go forward if I was going to sort of like honor my promise. And anyway, and so finally, like, I saw myself getting frustrated with the spiders. I was just like, this is dumb. Like, I'm getting mad at the spiders, for like building their webs wherever they want to. And I was like, all right, what if instead I had fun with this? And what if I chose to choose or use it as like an opportunity to practice my skill of, it's something that we learned from John and Tom Brown years ago about like when you're fox walking and walking through the forest, one of the I guess the aspects of how to do that is that your weight's always on your back leg. It's not, let me take my little jingles away. Sorry, they're jingling more. Your weight is always on your back leg rather than on your forward leg. And that's, in the modern world, John calls it a controlled fall. Like the way we walk is we typically have our weight on our front foot. And so if someone were to just all of a sudden yell, stop, we'd fall, But if you're walking as like fox walking in a more centered way of walking, your weight is always on your back foot and then your front foot moves. And if someone says stop, you can stop because your weight, you have that center point of your back foot and your front foot doesn't have the weight yet. So anyway, I chose to use this as an opportunity to like practice that. It's kind of like martial art of like moving through the forest and I started laughing about it. All of a sudden I'd like get really like, whoa, but I was able to stop and I was like, cool, like 10 points for Kristi, and just sort of start to have fun with myself with it. But it's really, Gabrielle, just to speak to your point about the frustration, it's really, that's my go-to often. My go-to sort of response to things that I don't like is getting frustrated with it. And yeah. And it's like, I could have continued to be frustrated that day, that morning. And yeah, I think it just would have been a very different experience for me, and I love how you have like, you're so aware of it. You're really, really tapped into like, to your emotions and to what you are experiencing, the fact that you're even aware and noticing that you got frustrated with the human sounds, because oftentimes that comes up for us and we don't even realize that we're frustrated. We just are frustrated,
Well, one of the things that really helped me, and all the human sounds are gone right now, miracle, and was when you started talking about the daydream. And I remembered a couple of days ago when I was sitting on my balcony and a Cooper's hawk came right above my head on the wire. And it was such a moment of magic and um, message, like it came here to to quiet me down. I don't know. It was really, so I really appreciated remembering that daydream, which was really an actual dream, which was got me back to, center and not so frustrated about
Yes.
human sounds. Yeah.
High five. And that way, that's such a gift that the birds can give us too. Often, yeah, I think John used to have this, that they bring us back to our senses,
Mhm.
like instead of being senseless or not, in your senses, that the birds, and when you hear a bird song or for you see the Cooper's hawk, whatever it is, the birds can help bring us, like remind us to come back to our senses, So yeah, high five. Yeah, nice job on that one. Yay. Sweet. Well, does anyone else want to share before we go? Want to make sure everyone has a chance to share their story. All good? All right, everybody. That was lovely. Thank you so much. And thanks for playing with this one. See how it goes this week if you keep trying it on, Yeah, so good to see everybody, and we'll see you next time.